Hey YouTube buddies. Okay, so this is the weekend that we went ahead down and bought the new cold plate. We went after a lot of research and looking at different Adler Barber and Isotherm and several others. I settled on Technotics. They got a good unit. It's gotten great reviews by a lot of people. And it's a fairly reasonable price. They're probably a little higher than some of the others. But they're also in California, about an hour's drive from me. So we were able to save on shipping by just going and picking the unit up. Anyway, so that's what we picked up, and that's the weekend task that we're going to do. Get rid of that apartment-sized refrigerator, although I know if you're like the wife, you guys pine for that thing and like that apartment refrigerator, but no, it's got to go. Anyway, so let me go let you take a look at the first mate's sneering at me for some reason.
I was waiting for you to tell him how grouchy you are this afternoon.
I'm grouchy this afternoon. Anyway, so yeah, let's go up there and take a look at it. Alrighty. So yeah, I know this thing's gonna go. Don't cry, gentlemen and ladies. Anyway, so here's the ice box. And here is the cold plate itself, which is pretty big size for this ice box. It's 2-inch thick, like 24 by 13 and a half. So it's pretty good size. And here's the compressor unit. It's ends up being a heavy-duty compressor unit, which I was going to order the heavy-duty unit, and come to find out that the heavy-duty unit now comes with it for the same price as the regular standard duty. So we got that.
Do you have my phone?
Anyhow, so we are going to get started on this. It comes with the compressor itself is pre-charged. What they do is they hook the compressor and the tubes that they're going to sell you and everything up as a unit. They charge it. They test it. They check it for leaks. And then they put their vacuum device on it. And they pull all the Freon back into the compressor unit. They suck it all back in, out of the tubes and out of the cold plate and everything. And then they tighten up the compressor unit fittings, and it's all sealed in there. So once you connect these guys to the cold plate and then connect them into the compressor unit, it releases all the Freon into the system. And this is all evacuated, so there shouldn't be any air in it from the get-go. Anyway, let me set this camera up and we'll get going. Okay, YouTube buddies, change of plan. I was going to mount it on this wall, but this it's got a much more radical slope as you get up high. So by the time I mount the bottom support and I push it all the way up here, I've got about that much room at the, what do I want to say, the apex, at the lowest part, about here in the middle. There's about that much room, so there's no way I can mount the side supports. But as it turns out, it should mount over here on this side, this vertical wall, just fine. I was concerned about it being there because of the way the fittings come out, but I'm looking at it. I kind of semi-mocked it up, and it looks like I can put it right here and drill a hole low here to pull the tubing up through, and then we'll have the shelves in, which will give all this area back here storage for refrigeration, and everything from here underneath down here will be freezer. So anyway, let me get this mounted and we'll be back with you. Okay folks, so the lower mount is in down there at the bottom. This is going to fit just beautifully. Okay guys, well, got the thermostat mounted. I'm gonna have to tie this up kind of off to the side. Have to gently bend the thermostat line, you don't want to kink it. You slide it into a copper tube so it can measure temperature at the cold plate itself. Now the fun part, which everybody loves to do, is I get to drill a big hole in my boat somewhere down here. Not too big. Not only in my boat, but in the icebox, and run the tubes up through the connections here. The interesting thing, which I didn't know, is that I had initially thought these tubes were charged, when in fact they're not. So, after much consternation and some banging of knuckles against metal surfaces and digging out insulation and drilling the other holes on the side, I got the tubes through and got everything connected up. As you can see here, here's a picture of the semi-finished product. So yeah, she went in, I turned her on, I let her run all night, and here's where we were the next morning. Hi YouTube buddies. Well, next day, let's go take a look at what we've done here with the Technotics Cool Blue refrigeration. Like I showed you, here it is, pretty much 90% installed. I've cut a leveling block there, and I'm going to tie this up against the side. I think I probably already talked about that. I got the block. I just need to install the block, the connecting block, so that we can get those 12-volt wires dressed. The unit ran for a good part of the night. As you can see, it is just frozen solid. It's really good. Now, I made the mistake of, it's got a variable speed compressor, and I made the mistake of leaving it, you're supposed to leave it on low for the initial cooling so that it brings it up and doesn't reset itself trying to go from 0 to 60, because it senses an overload condition. So now that both switches off low, now that it's up to normal operation, you put it on 3/4 throttle, which is the number 2 switch up. Now that runs the compressor at 3/4 of its maximum speed and gets it down to way cold, and then shuts off. So this is what we're doing. We're still in test mode. Now, once again, I think I've talked about this before. The apartment refrigerator's gone. I've cleaned up a lot of this. We're going to build a cabinet out, and then we're going to put a counter surface on it, so that we can have this as counter space. I'll probably put a wall in here and kind of wall this off with an access plate so that I can see the Freon, make sure it's still operating the way it should. Now, in the future, I may put another tub in here and then run pipes out, of course low and high, and turn this tub into a refrigerator and have this guy be the freezer. It's a decent sized freezer. It's about 6 to 7 square feet in there, cubic feet, not square feet. But anyway, so very cool. It is working like a champ, and the only thing that really took a long time to install was cutting a big enough hole here, because it's hard to get in here. You can't really get a jigsaw in there. So cutting a big enough hole here, digging out, it's got bukus of insulation, which I'm not going to complain about, all around. So I had to dig out like a section of insulation, which I just kind of poked through the screwdriver that goes up in here, and it goes up on the inside a little bit, so that I could route the tubes out and bring them around and loop them around. But so far, very pleased. I have not read a bad review. These things have been around for so long. The Technotics name and the Cool Blue, have not read a bad review. A lot of boats I see for sale, when you do a search, you see a lot for sale that have this system. So there you have it.